Steve Dangle Glynn joins us now. Steve Dangle, Steve Glynn, however you prefer to call him. He is the managing editor of the Leafs Nation. You can also hear his podcast, the Steve Dangle Podcast. He's with us now, and it's always fun to talk to you. How you doing, Steve?
Excellent, man. How are you?
Doing great. So I'd like to start you off, not so much with a question, but a thought to get your comment on it. Maddie and I were talking in the last segment about how Leafs Nation can get so fed up with what feels like a litany of bad decisions or half-finished promises or whatever, that when you get an off-season like the one we've had so far, which really has been pretty good, more good than not, that you almost forget how to feel good about stuff. We feel that here on the show. On the Leafs Nation website, do you get that as well?
I don't know how to feel because I'm actually optimistic and I'm scared and cold and alone. Like you guys nailed it right before the commercial break. It's always no. And with the Gunnarsson trade, right away, no, that's a terrible trade. And you know what? I'm not a big fan of it, but they could have done worse. And I like basically every signing they've made so far. So I don't know. This is weird territory. This is a few years ago territory now where I'm actually happy about this team. It's nice.
And at the same time, it's a good point because, the Gunnarsson-Pollock trade goes down. And my first thought was, well, you're giving up a guy who's better puck mover and so on and so forth. But you know what? Maybe Pollock will be pretty good. And he doesn't have to be great. He just has to be able to fit on the bottom pairing. And so you get so worked up about everything, you forget, this is actually a deal that it could be a push. What do you think of the Santorelli pickup? I actually really like it.
You know what, though? Optimism really depends on octave, though, because Kings fans are like, hey, this team's going to be pretty good. Leaf fan, pretty good. So it really does depend on the tone there. Santorelli, I watched him a lot last year when I was doing highlights, and I really like him. The Canucks had so much trouble last year with injury and everything, and I think if Santorelli stays in the lineup, they probably have a better chance at making the playoffs, and 1 year, $1.5 million, what's the risk? Bring him on board. Seems to have some friends on the team. Morgan Riley tweeted about him. And the Leafs have brought on a wealth of right-handed shots, which not just on the back end either. Santorelli, they brought Fratton back, Robida, Polak, I believe there was someone else. Oh, Conciola is also a right-handed shot. So I wonder if they went into the offseason with that in mind or if they just wanted a certain player who happened to shoot right-handed.
Joined on the line by Steve Dangle. And you're right about what you're saying about the Kings. I mean, the Kings fan is a bad year, conference finals. It's a bad year if you're a Kings fan. If you're a Leafs fan, you would literally take your mother's eyes and sell them on the black market to make the second round of the playoffs. We're in different little worlds right now, but what are we going to do? You wrote about it. The prodigal son has returned. Everyone's favorite. You love him. I love him. Leo Komarov back with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, I'm just hearing the excitement in your voice about him. So in your mind, you're Coach Carlisle, which would probably make you very happy or sad. What would be the best use for him?
What would be the best use for him?
Yeah,
you give him a rag with Max Pacioretty scent on it, and you go get it, boy. Go get it. Oh, I love Leo Komarov. It's $2.95 million per year for 4 years. That's a lot of money. And a lot of people go, oh, God, with the role he plays, it's just way too much. He's probably going to be, at very least, on their second PK, maybe their top, because they lost basically everybody who killed penalties last year, Phaneuf and Bozak aside. He was fifth in the NHL in hits in his lockout-shortened season. But the key there, because hits is not a very useful stat if you just use it by itself, he only had 9 minor penalties. If you remember the Grabowski-Pacioretty bite incident, that was started because Brandon Pruss just had enough of Komarov's face. Komarov didn't really do anything. He didn't say anything. He just went, you know what, I'm grabbing this dude. And then Grabowski gets in there, and then we got a circus. I love him. He was second on the Leafs in penalty differential, which means he draws more penalties than he takes, and a team that draws more penalties than they take has a shot to win every night.
I don't know. Those crazy stats you're throwing out there have confused me. Steve, last question on my end. You're happy about Leo. You seem pretty happy overall. But we're in sports media. It's time to get negative. So what for you will be the #1 target on Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment? What's the #1 negative you're going with right now?
Well, just the moment that I'm unhappy. Like you know how you were just talking about R.A. Dickey?
Yeah.
And how, watching him pitch, it's like minesweeper. You're like, okay, I'm doing fine now, but I'm waiting to click there it is. No, I got to play again. Okay, I like Komarov, Santorelli, that's a nice signing. And, oh, God, they just signed David Legwand to $6 million. Or something like that. I don't think that's going to happen. What I'm curious about is what happens with Cody Franzen, because it seems pretty obvious that he's heading out of town. And they were trying to acquire Josh Georges for him, which, okay, I understand what they're trying to do there, but I still think they need another top 6 forward, unless there's a guy on the Marlies or someone that they just signed who they're really confident in to step into a top 6 role. Because if you look at a lot of fantasy lineups that people are putting together right now, you got Kadri on the second line, Clarkson's one of his wingers, and take your pick for the other. So, it's a little confusing. Lupul is the name I've heard heading out of town. So, who knows?
He's Steve Glynn. He goes by Steve Dangle. That is his nom de puck. He is the managing editor of theleafsnation.com, and you can catch him at the Steve Dangle podcast. You find it on iTunes and probably on SoundCloud, right?
Yep, on SoundCloud too. And you know what? Go to YouTube and type in KHL 101. I heard you talking about that. I actually did a video explaining the craziness of the KHL on one of my podcasts.
I love this. KHL 101. I have to admit, maybe it's just the factor that AMC has been rolling out a lot of Day After Tomorrow, which I just can't watch.
Yeah, I was on again yesterday. Day After.
That
was a horrible movie.
Matt. They did it back to back. The enemy is the weather. It's ridiculous.
The helicopters all start crashing. Okay, we shouldn't be talking about this. Horrible movie.
There's more time for the KHL than ever before. Steve, thanks so much for joining us today, man.